with friends. Hope you can hear me, Indie Gamer. Hope we can hear everyone else in chat. Mr. 3K, congratulations, Indie Gamer. I can see you. Mr. 3K subscribers. Well deserved, mate. And this week we have Removable Sanity and VJ. How are you doing?
Was there any difference between us?
No, not really. No difference. How are you doing, VJ? How's the weather?
The weather's fine. No problems at all. But is it okay if I dispense with the frivolities of a welcome and can we just move on to the topics?
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. How you doing?
Hi, chop.
Removable Sanity. How you doing?
Yeah, I can't complain.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Hope you can all hear us and liking the setup of the new podcast. I hope it's working well.
The background looks nice. It's very nice and pretty.
It does with a Quake. We'll get on to Quake in a minute. We will. Yeah, but welcome to Indie Gamer in chat. Welcome to VJ, Masuku.
Hello.
Bimba. Yeah, I know I'm live. Well done. I know I'm live, Indie Gamer. But yeah, welcome, Indie Gamer, Mr. Welcome. Congratulations on the 3,000 subs that I've seen earlier.
That's nice to hear. Everyone's audible is loud and clear after Stubbs' ability to kind of twiddle with things, mess things around, and
yeah, I had a bit of a Indie Game has helped a lot. I really thank him for that.
Basically, you put it back to default, didn't you? Put it back to default settings and started there again.
Well, I did, but he's taught me a few things. But certain videos I couldn't get downloaded. Sometimes YouTube doesn't allow you to. The app I use doesn't always allow you to download everything. It's like there's some trailers I wanted, I couldn't get them. It doesn't work sometimes. But
you mean illegally?
Yeah, there's always an awkward start to a podcast with this podcast, Indie, as you know. Thanks, Fimber. Glad you're liking it, the new overlay. But yeah, should we just get into it as VJ wants to get straight into the topics? So
we have topics.
Yeah, so this Quake 2 game.
Yeah, perfection. For those who know how to play it, you know.
Well, I've tried it on Series X. I've tried it on PC, and my thoughts on playing it on the Series X was I played about 20-30 minutes of it, and it's probably due to the low frame rate, but it gave me a headache. It made me dizzy.
120 frames is not. It's not 120 frames. Not good enough for you.
Series X is not 120 frames per second. The Series X is only 120 frames per second if you've got a 120 frames per second TV.
That's true.
And the vast majority of people
Which
out there,
you're on 60 frames per second, is it?
I would dare say no. I do believe that the
because that's what Digital Foundry did state. It was 160 frames per second on the Series S and 120 frames per second on the Series X. Of course, that only depends on the monitor or TV that you're utilising.
I would say that the people that are using on bog standard 4K TVs, I would say that game's running at about 30 frames per second.
Very unlikely.
I can't explain why. I felt dizzy in it after playing
knowing the way you are, you've piddled around with TV settings again. You've got it wrong because it's like
I don't mess about.
Honestly, it's literally it's 60 frames per second minimum, and it's 120 for the Series X. So unless you've got a
all I can say is then as well in the game as well is that obviously I'm part of the PC master race because I've 60 frames. If that's 60 frames on the Series X, it made me dizzy, genuinely dizzy. from playing it.
The
idea
idea is when you play the game, you're not supposed to spin it in a circle. You're supposed to aim for the actual enemy.
I wasn't moving. I was sat on my bed playing it.
I think you've got your sensitivities up too high, mate. Honestly,
I don't understand what.
I literally, it brought back so many memories for me. It's like playing on the playing on the Series X from my PC days, and it was like, this hasn't changed. It was so smooth in terms of, because when I remember playing it, I was at 720p. So that should tell you something, back in the day, and it was 30 frames locked back then, depending on your hardware. Right. And it's perfect. They have done such a brilliant job on this. But I think have you ever played Quake 2 before?
I played it back on the that was Unreal Tournament probably.
So you haven't?
Probably
I reckon you're not probably used to the actual control system.
Well, it may be like Indy said. It might be I've got the sensitivity and the field of view set wrong.
I suspect you probably have, yeah.
That's what it probably is, because I'll mess about with it again, because I've never experienced feeling dizzy and ill after playing a game before, so I don't know what to say about that. But when I played it on PC, I was fine. I don't get it. So maybe on PC.
I told you, it's sensitivity. The sensitivity is probably either way too high. You piddle around with the bloody settings again, ain't you? And you've.
Maybe I have. I don't actually know. Welcome, Fastback. Thanks for popping in, mate. Appreciate that. UK Dazarus.
And Daz.
UK Daz. Thanks for popping in. But yeah, obviously, I mean, on PC it was good. I had a quick go on PC, but I was enjoying it. That's the thing. Until the dizziness, I was like, obviously it's sensitivity and the field of view.
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be.
I didn't actually touch any of that to start with, or maybe it's just set wrong for me automatically. So
I dropped my sensitivity down. I did on my one. I did drop my sensitivity down because it was a little bit too unwieldy for the controller. So maybe that's where it is.
That's my only guess. Obviously, that's I've obviously.
In terms of the package and the price, it was just like they've done a superb job. And the ID Vault, that's now. I think if they don't use that sort of as a standard for remaster games, I think I'm going to be miffed, because that is just perfection in itself. I mean,
are we using the term remaster here? Because when I turned on the Series X, it's just all the old graphics. You can't call that a remaster.
It is a remaster because it's at 4K and they've smoothed. Did you watch Digital Foundry's?
I didn't watch
how they've changed the lighting, how they've changed the AI, how they've changed some of the weapon types, how they've changed they put the 4K textures in.
It looks blocky though.
That's the idea. They've kept to the original ethos of the game, but they've scaled it up. Because if you look at it, go to the ID Vault and you'll see the original models versus the tweaks they've done for this version.
I'm going to have to watch this video because I didn't think.
I tell you what, even the CGI at the beginning, that has been reworked and redone. They have done, honestly, a fantastic job in terms of enhancing everything. I mean, even on the screen now, you can see the fact. You see that where it traced across and shows you the previous textures and verses.
Didn't look like this. Look worse.
Have you honestly, Subs? I reckon you piddled around with the blooming settings again. Mine looks exactly like this.
Quake 2. I just played the Quake 2 bit. It didn't look like that.
I reckon you've put it back on the original blooming settings or something. You've gone back to like, I don't know. You can actually you go back to.
That's what's happened.
You
for fuck's sake. That's what's happened. That's what's happened. I've been playing it on the old settings, and that's what's caused it.
You played it on the basic previous visual settings.
It did not look like this. What I'm watching now.
Oh my
I'm pissed
god!
off now.
Really?
Yeah, I've been watching it.
No wonder you've been looking at PC going, this is lovely.
I was like, yes, obviously. So obviously,
you've been playing the original 720p.
But I just loaded it in. I just pressed new game and it gave me the original.
I don't believe that for a second, Stubbs. You're just like Oh, that now it explains so much to me now. It's like, what are you talking about? When you was moaning in the DMs, it's like, what are you doing?
What you've got to understand is, Indy, if I'm playing it in the actual, like Removal was saying, that if it looks
the
like
original grainy, yeah.
If I'm playing it like that,
visuals.
I really wouldn't think it was a remaster. If I played it, I didn't. I loaded it in and it was just like it was, just the old looking way.
See, can you see the difference? Can you see the texture difference?
Now I understand now. And now, if I was playing this, I've obviously
which is what everyone else has been playing.
I've obviously booted into the wrong mode, or as everyone says, I've touched something in the settings clearly because this is a remaster.
Yeah, this is exactly what I've been playing.
Well, that's not what I was playing. I always tell you what, I always get something wrong.
You have a knack for tweaking something and messing around with something, haven't you? Honestly, Indy, this man can do anything. He can touch a button and everything will go completely wrong. I don't know how he does it.
This graphics here is like the remaster, clearly. But
yes,
the mode I had it in was real blocking. It was like I was playing it from when it came out. That's how blocky it was.
You've basically clicked in the original mode, which you can turn on and off.
I didn't know how. What button's that, by the way? Is there any chance I might have been flicking it? Well, I don't know.
You must have pissed around with the settings or something. You probably clicked on a. I'll look at after this, and I reckon you've probably tweaked on a original mode or something like that because
I do not get it. I really don't get it.
Honestly,
I'm annoyed
I'm annoyed. Yeah, you can see.
I can see it.
If you go to iDefault, you can see the difference. It's what they've got there. They've got like what they did. So you can actually go to iDefault, look at the enemy models in 3D, spin them around, and you can see them from what they were originally and how they've upgraded them to this remaster. And they've done enough to make it look visually better, but kept to the original in terms of the blockiness. They've kept to the original ethos of the game, but it's just a much more crisper experience. And the AI has also been tweaked and changed as well to be a much more aggressive. So like the guys with the hammers and that, they will jump at you now, which they never used to do. It's definitely a much better experience, and they've obviously made some life improvements as well. Honestly,
I need to go back.
I had two. I saw Quake and I saw Quake 2, a bit like Alien and Aliens, the films.
Okay.
Both were brilliant. It had their own unique things. Quake for me was good, more like a horror, brilliant sort of thing. Quake 2 was my very first, proper after Doom, Doom-esque sort of game, and I loved them both absolutely to bits. And so this one. Oh yeah, I can't. Even now, I'm playing it.
So we will revisit this next week with me when I played it as it should be played.
We'll do a bit of a cross-play or something like that because we'll try and get you back to how it was originally.
What I'll do is, because I did record footage, but what I'll do is I didn't put it on the PC because I thought how bad this actually looks. But I'll get the remastered footage and I'll put some footage of me actually playing it up on the screen next week. When I actually get the correct screen on. I can't believe I always mess something up, don't I? I don't know. I don't even know how. I don't know how.
No wonder you've probably got you've got a headache if you're watching at 720p and the blocky originals.
No, Daz does say that I'm not to make out in the retro gamer. I mentioned it once in LOD Perspectives chat, and I've never heard the end of it since. I have got a Dreamcast, right, and I have got a Mega Drive, and very rarely ever get switched on. They don't. Very rarely. I watch a lot of retro podcasts, like the Sega guys and that, but I don't often actually play retro. I don't. Not that often. But VJ, have you managed to try this remaster out, Quake 2, or it's available via Game Pass?
No.
No, that was quite quick to the point.
I think John Fair. I think in fairness to VJ, I don't think I've seen you play many first-person shooter VJs. I think you're not your sort of style of gaming, is it?
I don't really play first person shooters, but I think the last one that I played was Halo Infinite. And I pretty much, besides the multiplayer, the campaign, I really enjoyed it. And I think prior to that, I picked up the remastered versions of BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite. And I enjoyed those. But I missed out on the Dishonored games. I've tried them a couple of times. I just couldn't get into them. Maybe I just missed the time.
Yeah, I think Dishonored for me was great. Second one, I was a bit more.
That's actually a common thread that I come across quite often. But I'm still told to play it. But no, you're absolutely spot on. I mean, the only time I will play an FPS is with yourself is obviously Back for Blood or Redfall or something like that.
Gears 5.
Yeah.
Gears 5.
Sorry?
Okay, it's 5.
Gears 5 is not a first-person shooter.
No, it's not actually. It's a third-person shooter. Sorry.
So but I enjoy.
I have to mention it. That's all.
Okay, I'll just be quiet then.
Sorry, VJ. Carry on. You know what I'm like. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I know when I'm not wanted.
No, you are wanted, VJ. Don't be silly.
No, it's okay. Don't have to send me a link next week. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I do enjoy the. Well, you know this removal because you're normally the driver and I enjoy being the passenger. But yeah, I enjoy the co-op FPS games because I think they're a lot of fun. Because most of the time I just enjoy gaming on my own. But co-ops actually quite interesting. So but Halo's probably. Halo's probably the big one I played on my own. Yeah, the last one.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I must admit, it's looking at the games that you play just on Xbox, and obviously our conversation with each other. As you rightly said, until we pull you in and drag you in, kicking and screaming, it's not normally for FPS sort of game that you're normally playing. I must admit.
Could I just ask? Is the upcoming? I'm a fan of Obsidian, right? And I live quite close by to them. But the upcoming game Avowed, is that first person?
Yeah. Yes.
Because that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
In terms of a first person game, I can't think of anything else. But yeah.
That's correct. Exhumed was also done by Night Dev Studios. That's another one where they've absolutely
is Exhumed
remastered.
Is Exhumed just a sly dig at stubzgaming in terms of where his PC came from?
Probably.
Sorry.
Okay. But no, I must admit, Exhumed was another. Yes, you're right. Sega. It was a good Sega Saturn classic. They had two different names. It's Exhumed, and there was another name, I remember correctly. The Sega guys will know this one. But yeah, it was another. To be honest, there hasn't been a remaster from Night Dev Studios I have found that I don't like. They just seem to be the best at what they do in terms of remasters. For instance, Shadow Man, they did superb remaster. That's a third person kind of, Metroidvania sort of thing, early Metroidvania sort of game. Again, they've gone in, they've found some of the original concept arts, put everything in. The same thing here. They go above and beyond when it comes to the remasters. They look for the stuff that's hidden, that was potentially lost, trying to bring it back. They really capture and help capture the historical aspects of the game, as well as making the game better for future generations. Honestly, they are down. I think they are the top tier when it comes to remasters. I can't gush over them. And Power Slave, that's right, Power Slave, yes. That's right. That was the other name for Exhumed. They are just superb in what they do, honestly. And apparently, as far as I'm aware of, there's 2 other games that they're working on, which they're supposed to announce. I'm hoping for Dino Crisis, but you never know that. But the way they do it, it could be anything with Night Dive, sorry. But if you follow them like I do, they really go above and beyond when it comes to remasters. Especially when it comes to the old games and just looking after them in every context possible. And then you have someone like Stubbs who then tries to play it in the original setting.
Yeah, Well.
Well, on the bright side, you must reminded yourself of back in the old days.
I need to be fair. It reminded me of the fact that I need to play on my Dreamcast more on my Mega Drive because James from the Sega guys won't be too impressed with me. He's appeared in chat. Yeah, as I mentioned, the Sega guys podcast. It's like his radars went off, and he appeared in chat. Thanks for popping in, mate. But yeah, I had to play the wrong mode, didn't I? But
you did.
I can't believe that. I can't believe it.
Look at it this way: you've got something to look forward to now, haven't you?
Yeah. And I said, you played it on the PC, and you probably were like, "This is a bit weird." That's why I couldn't understand. It's like the PC looks perfect. I'm like, "There's no difference."
Wow, PC, we can really boost them frames.
You can tweak a few more options. That is definite. I think, in terms of what you can, but in terms of overall, the packages are very similar from what I'm gauging. They are almost identical in terms of the PC. I think there is definitely some more extra tweaks you can do. I think if I remember correctly, you can tweak some console commands into the PC options, which you can then, I think, add more characters in and stuff like that.
The fact you've probably also with this remaster, the mod community are probably alive making new mods for it. I would say, but I don't know. I don't know. It's not a thing I don't like using.
Well, they said they've put in a brand new, game in here. Besides the N64 version, they've actually put in and the expansions. They've put in I think it was I can't think of who it's called now. It'll say it on the screen actually. They put in a new, effectively, I call it machine expansion. That was it. So they've even added in stuff like that where it's someone else. I think it's another team. I think they were I can't think of who they did it. Called a machine team. My brain's going. But they're also well known for doing some amazing level design, and they've done an expansion for it. And even the people I've heard playing it have said it's almost worth it just for that. It's like a game in itself, the expansion.
I need to try it.
So
I need to try it.
You do. At the proper settings.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't spend my money on hair gel, Daz. As you know, I don't really have any. It's like a handful of hair, so it's not worth it.
He takes one eyebrow, combs it over to the other eyebrow.
But yeah, so have both your dashboards updated to the new Xbox dashboard yet?
Well, I'm in the alpha program, so I've had it for quite a while. So
I've got it now. Have you got it, VJ, yet? Is it prepared?
I really wouldn't know what I was looking at because I don't really pay much attention to the dashboard at all.
So, BJ's removables probably do it. So have the icons got smaller on that?
A little bit. Yes, they have. Yes.
Personally, no, what I mean is I'm trying to let VJ know if he's working out. He said he can't tell. He says.
So, from what I gather, is because it's been I'm used to it now, so it's because I've had it for quite a while. So what they've done is they've reduced. I think they've reduced the number of tiles and they've made them smaller, so you can see more of your screensaver behind it.
They've got come into Game Pass, haven't they? Recently added.
Yeah. So they've tried. I mean, personally, if they could get rid of the advertisement, if you're already on Game Pass, you don't need the advertisement. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
I think, to be honest with you, if you're already subscribed to Game Pass, why keep advertising it? Honestly, I don't think it is. I think at best you should have just one line of tiles at the bottom, and the rest could be your screensaver. I think that's perfectly fine. Well, at the moment, this two is still too much. It's taking up too much space, in my opinion. It's better, 100%. It's getting better, and it's good that they're listening. But go on, get rid of it. If you've already subscribed, get rid of it.
I mean, it looks good, but obviously the recently added games and coming to Game Pass is good, but it's all right. It's I think the tiles are a bit too small, to be honest. I do, but
bit too small.
Yeah, I just put it.
You do realise you can set the tile size?
No, I don't.
For crying stubs. You can go from small, medium to large.
It's fair enough. But yeah, it's not that impressive. It's all right. But I suppose you've seen it change over time with you being in the alpha ring, skip, whatever you're in.
Alpha ring, yeah, the alpha ring. So there is benefits, and obviously there is the downside with it. The benefits is we get to see what Microsoft is doing first. The downside is we're the guinea pigs for all the glitches that comes through it. So nothing's bricked my system yet, but that's the kind of benefits you do. They kind of give you effectively about a month or 2 months worth of viewing the tweaks to it, and then I'll smooth it out. And then throughout that, you'll again get questions saying, how do you feel about it? Is there anything that you recommend we should do? And that's always nice to see. So we do get to see these things a little bit sooner than everybody else. But on the downside, we could have things where our systems might crash a little bit more because they're tweaking things on a regular basis. So, if you don't want that, don't do it. If you're happy for your system to kind of be the beta tester, then obviously you can jump in and ask for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not, because it scares me of how expensive machine is. So what happens if you're in this program and your Xbox breaks because you've agreed to do these updates? Have they got anything in place if it breaks due to
I don't know,
update?
Josh. I don't know. I don't know if it's signed. You've taken you're taking some risk as long as it doesn't fully brick your console.
Hang on, everyone. Last week we had a podcast with Removable saying he knows this, that, and the other. He digs into all the information, and now he doesn't know if his Xbox breaks as to whether Xbox are responsible.
Well, it's one of the things. It's part and parcel of the what's it called? It's the as you go through. Who looks at the older? What's it called? Oh, not the warranty at the beginning, but you know what I'm talking about. The what's the thing that you normally have to sign every time you start a game up?
Disclaimer?
Look at the what's it called?
Is it a disclaimer of sorts?
Disclaimer, yeah. No one reads the bloody disclaimer. I don't. You just click yes, don't you?
I thought you would.
Well, I didn't.
Well, it's not like
I really didn't.
You're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Did you not send them a check in the post?
Exactly. And plus, my logic was like, they're not going to brick properly, because in the alpha wing, the alpha program, there's like thousands of players. They're not going to put something that's going to brick off thousands of people's pieces.
Dragon Wall seems to think that there's no liability to Xbox. He put note, that's why I left, so I'm guessing he may have read it.
It probably, yeah, that's probably is. There is probably no liability. I think, as I said, it's probably the liability is down to you. But in my head, I was like, they're probably not going to, put something that's going to brick.
I would hope that they wouldn't, because it would. You imagine it'd spread like wildfire, wouldn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. But it would damage the alpha program in general.
It would.
People would literally then just stop doing it. And in fairness to them, the live data we send using it really does help them kind of give the best performance to those who aren't in the alpha. Personally, I think maybe we should get a little bit more, because we are taking a little bit of a risk for Microsoft. Maybe I don't know, extra XP or something, or extra, But I think. Yeah, it generally, I haven't seen anything that has remotely probably damaged my machine. I think one patch about a year ago made my system crash probably a little bit more frequent for about a space of about a week, and then it was patched and it was perfectly fine again. So that was probably the worst one I saw.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, it's a personal thing. I think, if you wish to be in there and do it, go for it. If not, stick with what you're going to get, because literally about 2 months after we've seen it, you will get the better version for it. You're not losing it. Trust me, you're not losing out anything.
Well, that's true. It's like sort of studies and research and stuff like that. It all helps, doesn't it? And people end getting a better product out of it. So you're there helping. Do you have to
I
fill
try
out?
to
Do you have to fill in surveys and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll have a survey come up literally once a week. And then they'll test out features like, for instance, the thing that they're currently doing right now, which is, report hate speech on online sort of stuff.
That we're going to come up to that topic in a minute. In a minute, this one ain't going to go down well. I just got to try and do this without. I'm just flicking videos for a minute. Hopefully, it doesn't go wrong.
Oh no, we've gone. We're no longer live. Have you got these like it's like templates or something?
There we go. Yeah, I was worrying the music would come blasting on. It hasn't. There we go. I know how some other podcasts done it before. I was trying not to do it.
I must be. I do.
But
like
Indie Gamers taught me well,
background.
though. To be fair, Indie Gamers taught me well. He has. So I've learned.
I feel sorry for Indie. He's had to sit down with you and painstakingly told you everything.
Since then, welcome to Scott. Thanks for popping in. I know it's a bit late for you.
Bramble, isn't it?
Yeah, I appreciate you popping in. And Luke Steele, I did see in there a while ago. Bramble, this is a game I am currently playing. I'm really liking it. It's scary as well. It's like a horror. It's like a horror game too. I don't normally play horror games, if people know. This is very interesting. This game, very interesting. It's in Game Pass. Highly recommend it. I've not completed it, but I will. Complete
But you haven't got past the first tutorial, so that's always good.
Oh no, I have got much further than that. Yeah, I'm a lot further than that. I definitely have. So, do you want to talk? Yeah, we'll talk about Xbox has launched a new strike-based enforcement system for the online conduct. Now, we'll talk about.
For those that don't know, it's like a bit like the UK's version of. No, it's the UK's version of a driving license. So if you get 3 strikes, you're out. When you lose your license they've done, is it 8?
So it says here, I'm reading off the VGC's website. It says, for example, a player that has received 2 strikes will be suspended for the platform for 1 day, whereas a player that receives 4 strikes will be suspended for 7 days. Players have a total of 8 strikes once reached will be suspended from Xbox's social features like messaging parties and party chat multiplayer, and others for 1 year from the enforcement date. Each strike received will stay on the player's record for 6 months. Now, that was one thing I was always worried about people getting banned, because Microsoft's been very careful there, haven't they? Because people have bought content. So,
yes, they can't ban you from the content. Well,
that's why
I don't know. Maybe legally, I don't know, because it's digital. You never know what they can actually say.
I was just going to say, removable stubs. I have no idea what this strike system is for. So can I just get like a 30-second idea as to why it's being implemented?
So back in way yonder, probably days of me and VJ, the internet was very lawless.
2080 BC.
Yes, exactly. Very lawless. And back then, we kind of had a mantra, VJ, where sticks and stones will break our bones, but words will never hurt us. That kind of shifted, and a lot of people are being very mean online now. And so, to hurt everyone's feelings, make sure everyone's feelings is nice and kept nicely, they decided to make sure that no one's being mean online in any verbal context whatsoever. And so this system has been brought in to stop harassment, hate speech, I don't know who defines hate speech, because they haven't actually identified what hate speech is or who defines it. And anything being naughty in terms of verbal or anything like that, bullying, harassment, they brought this in as a strike system so that then they can try and make, as they put it, the place a better, the gaming experience better for everybody.
So it's a deterrent, basically.
It's a deterrent, but in some cases it could actually lock you from your.
So there's obviously there's a guy in the community called Stallion, and he's got quite a high gamer score. He says he gets on well with Xbox, and he's been banned recently.
I got banned recently as well.
He doesn't really. If he some of his tweets do show you that Xbox doesn't actually tell him what he did. He just violated the terms. So he's compiled a chart of the feedback he's received on Stallion in the past. Where was it?
Right, it's 2016. They actually had the stats of what you could.
So this was back in
you was banned for.
So in the 6-month period in 2016. You can get false complaints. So this in 2016, he had 93 complaints against him about being unsporting, 273 of being a cheater.
Unsporting isn't hate speech, and it isn't abusive.
It's all connected though.
Well, that's the thing,
The problem is in online.
I'm just going by the criteria removable laid out. So if there's more to it, then obviously I'm just trying to get familiar with it.
The criteria is obviously Microsoft is the end user, and they will determine what any of this is. From what I can tell, it doesn't give you the player. It doesn't give you any context. So for instance,
because when you said sporting, it reminded me of Eddie Murphy. I think it was Raw when he says, "I've got McDonald's, but you've got a welfare burger." Now, would I be banned for that?
Probably.
So also 190 what 100.
You're familiar with Eddie Murphy, aren't you? Please, someone tell me they got that.
Yeah.
So in 2016, 181 people were offended by his gamer picture. 45 people were offended by his tag, and 96 people were offended by his voice communications. So what you got to understand, VJ, in online gaming, if you're like really good at a game, in shooting games, people start calling you a cheater. You must have an aimbot and stuff like this. It's standard. You can't be that good, and this is the kind of crap people get, and this is going to make the problem worse. It is.
So, but this doesn't help me at all. This whole system sounds ludicrous from the way it's being explained to me. Because if you're either very good at games and if you've got an issue with how I speak or how I communicate to you within the English language, and I use no abusive words, what's the issue?
Well, I think to be honest, this is a thing. As far as I can see, I can understand the reason why it's been implemented now. I can understand that it's coming from a good place, but for hate speech, for instance, who defines that? There is no guidance for that. And the reason why there's no guidance is that because hate speech can be varied dependent on your county, your country, your lived experience. It can be a very wide selection.
Or just simply because you have an ego.
Exactly that. And for me personally, who has been banned from Xbox for a 10-year-old gaming clip, and this happened to me literally a month ago. I was banned for 2 weeks for it was a Metro, and it was a gaming clip I clipped and I kept it because it looked really funny. But it was a little bit naughty and rude. I got banned for that. It doesn't.
They should have just banned the game and the developer.
Well, this is the thing.
And their licensing agreement.
If you're copying, so for instance, if a game says, you're a numpty, and someone's offended by that, and you've kept that clip on your system, which you find funny, or High on Life, for instance, has loads of swear words. Someone could get offended by that, and you could be banned for it.
So, Scott, you say that they said a high volume of inaccurate reports does not result in a ban. Well, try Ted and Stally on that. He's been banned for no reason.
Well, as I said, look at my perfect example. I don't play multiplayer, to be honest with you. It's very rarely I play multiplayer, as you know, and yet I had a gaming clip banned for me for 2 weeks. And the trouble is very exactly the same thing. It's very hard to get in contact with Microsoft. Right. And if you do, you could potentially make it worse for yourself. I've seen a few people where they've said they've tried to appeal it, and they've got a harsher sentence for appealing it. So to me, I knowing the way, at least with experience I've had with Microsoft so far, I don't trust them. I can see it's going to get very easily abused.
Yeah, it will. You can't trust Microsoft for this kind of stuff. I don't think they should be doing this stuff at all.
Yeah, especially when it comes to hate speech. Hate speech is what I deem as hate speech is going to be very different to what Stubbs will deem as hate speech. It will be very different what VJ deems as hate speech. In some cases, it could be context. So a term in, say, for instance, Swahili, where it could be viewed as hateful in the UK.
That's what I was going to.
But it could be just
you already hit the nail on the head about 3 or 4 minutes ago when you said, if you look at, I mean, if you just look at the greatest conflicts in the world, right? India, Pakistan, North Korea, South Korea, Palestine, and Israel. Those have been raging for 70,000 years over something very minor, but holistically in the same culture and civilization that they all believe in. Just over minor fracases they've been fighting over for 70 years. So I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that. But there are so many different cultures and civilizations around the world. How can one system fit all? It can't.
No, and as to mention Scott's point, where he says this has existed. You're correct; it did exist, but they've never tightened it up. They've never basically made it better. So you've already got a system that was already well abused, very ambiguous. Now having a strike system overlaid upon that, which is going to be even worse for a lot of people, and I can understand why it's been put into place. I know that there is a toxic element within the multiplayer community, but at the same time, I think you need to take a little bit of personal responsibility for what you deem as offensive.
But removable, is that like, so if me and you are playing a game and we start talking crap about Stubbs, about how wonderful he is and what a terrible.
Say he gets into a grump and sends that to Microsoft, we're banned.
Oh my god! So
behind his back. Because I don't know if you know this, VJ. This might freak you out a bit, but when you're talking in party chat, Microsoft systems are recording and scripting exactly word for word what you're saying. I don't know if you knew that.
Wonderful. I kind of got the gist of it, but I don't think I really say that much.
No, I know you don't. I'm just saying, but the systems do.
To be honest with you, what's going to happen is
it's removable. Where are you? And you're saying over here. I'm saying, can you just give me a direction? North? Yeah, but my map.
To be honest with you, I'm the one who's normally swearing. Yeah, I'm normally the one who's swearing. When we the only couple of times we have played multiplayer, it's normally like, you bloody well got shots again. Why? Stick with me. I'm normally the one who gets very grumpy. Yeah, but this is why I don't play online, because if that slight ribbing, that enthusiastic ribbing, or even just slight annoyance or silliness that I sometimes come out with, and if I ever thought that I was offending someone, I'd be wholeheartedly mortified. But that slight ribbing you have with your friends, if someone takes it out of context and uses that and abuses that, there is no comeback to it, as far as I can tell.
I thought of a new accessory removable, yeah? Xbox's multiplayer muzzle, yeah? So
it's going to happen. Well, to be honest with you, I can see...
That's a lot of the reason why. I mean, when you go back to the 360 days, everyone used to talk in open lobbies. You go on most systems now, it's all party chats. The online lobbies, you can't hear no one.
Scott, to be honest with you, you say... he says you aren't going to get banned for ribbing your friends. Well, actually, that's the irony is... As far as I'm aware of,
you can.
We don't know that. You can, because the very first pass is through an AI system, which is not going to understand it. Secondly, only if you really push it, you might get human interaction to do it. Now, they have said that humans are going to be the ones looking at this, but if their system already fails under that, like, for instance, I got banned for a gaming clip, and anyone with a modicum of intelligence would see it was a gaming clip, that would not be, you would think, well, it's no ban whatsoever. So if already there is abuses of that system, it doesn't mean it's going to be any better. I think what they should have done, I do like the 8, straight off, I do like the 8-tier system, but I think they should have really done a better way. They really should have tightened up the system already is, because I've seen too many people already banned for silly things.
Remember, did you say there? Sorry, Mr. Stubbs. Did you say that that these incidents will be checked by other human beings? And if that's the case, I think you're right.
Well, they say that, but it's either then the people who are checking this are so bloody stupid that you think, well,
no, I was going to say everyone has a biased. Well, let's be honest. Every human being has a falsified and limited value system, right? I mean, given the span and depth and breadth of the world, right? Like we just spoke about. So it's quite interesting how they're going to deal with it. And is it really going to affect Xbox that much, other than the people that get banned?
Well, I think what will happen is it's probably going to. The thing that I'm seeing regularly now, and you could say this is good or for the worse, is it will segregate people into their own bubbles. So they will use third-party means to chat. They won't actually chat on Xbox anymore. And I kind of went a little bit conspiracy theory on this. I said maybe this was a very clever idea by Xbox. If you've got a system that you don't really want to maintain, maybe like Xbox Live Chat, because it's not providing you profit, how do you get people to avoid not to use it? And then you can say, well, it's not being used, we're going to get rid of it. Bit like they did with the streaming service,
Remember, just sorry, the only other thing I can think of, because that America is very litigious, and I'm just wondering if their legal department has said, look, we need to do something like this. We need to circumvent ourselves from any potential liability. So please, impose this, or at least make it part of the program. I don't know. I'm just saying America is very much about class action lawsuits, about the most littlest and most.
I think what's going to happen now is most people will go to a third-party app and they'll basically stick in bubbles. So what will happen now is, instead of maybe online chatting with randoms, you will only potentially ever use Discord or something to chat directly to your friends. You won't actually go out and bother now to chat to anybody.
I will step in there, Scott. I understand what you're saying. The enforcement policy isn't actually directly linked to AI checking it, but if you look into Microsoft's systems, and there is sites you can look at, it tells you, and Microsoft openly admit it, their systems on Xbox Party Chat and any messaging to do with Xbox Live, they do record, log, and everything you're talking about, and log it all. So if they potentially wanted to tap into that at some point in the future, I don't think they ever will. They could. It's on file. So there is freaky stuff they're doing, but that's part and parcel of having an account. You pay for it, but it is there. But
that's what's going to happen. People will just move to Discord.
They will,
or some other third-party chat, and then you know what's going to happen. I reckon in a couple of months' time or a year's time, might say, well, party chat isn't being utilised much. We're not making it's not worth our money. We're just going to get rid of it, and that's another saving.
Because it's on Xbox now, Discord is. But if you had the conspiracy theory, you could just literally plug your headset. You could chat through your phone into you could chat that way if you don't want to go through the Xbox system. But Discord is now on the Xbox. I've finally set it up.
You don't have to. You could use. There's a variety of third-party chat apps you can utilise now, and that's what's going to happen. I think. I don't think that as many people will use Xbox Live Chat.
I don't think a lot of people.
And I know it was. I think that will. I think that's the death knell of it.
Was it
whether it's good or bad?
Well, these community game nights. What was the limit he could get in there? Was it about 15 and 20, or was it 25? Because he really tested it. He did.
She pushed it. I think it was 15.
Is it 15? But Discord's far higher. But I don't know if Discord can follow it. I don't know how high, because he really had high numbers. He did.
Yeah, and did you know it was an absolute bloody nightmare to talk?
Well, yeah, but to be fair, when you got 50, it's like putting 15 people in the podcast. It's going to be a nightmare.
Oh yeah, it was. It was an absolute. That's why most people just like, no, I'm not talking. I don't know. There you go. Dragon Wolf. He remembers. He thinks it was about 16. He thinks. But it was a nightmare to actually get. It was that amount of people. It's like having 16 people on a podcast.
It's going to be chaos. Welcome to
Yeah,
Warwick. Welcome to Warwick. Thanks for popping in.
I think in-game chat. How many use in-game chat unless you're playing co-op? I think co-op, unless you'll be using co-op, in-game chat is very limited in terms of being used. Exactly as Warwick saying, he said 100. You can have 100 in Discord max. I think it's a combination of legalities they wish to do.
To be fair,
I
would push back. I mean, I don't think Xbox are going to get rid of party chat because it's gonna limit the package that's on offer. They're not going to get rid of it. Just less people can.
I think the question is going to be, if this system is abused in any shape or form, do you see people using party chat?
I know. I mean, obviously Scott plays a lot of more multiplayer than we do, and he said that a lot of people still use in-game chat systems.
Oh yes, without a doubt. And at this stage now, I suspect it probably is quite well used. The question is going to be when this system comes in, and people start retroactively clipping people for it. I think is it 30? Is it a minute or is it 30 seconds? Because that's another thing I always like to say. I think the minute is too short. I think it should be 3 minutes because there could be context missing from, say, a particular chat. You could be telling a story to someone in a chat. They could clip the last 30 seconds or a minute of it, and it could sound a hell of a lot horrendous than, say, the 3 minutes. I think personally, if it was me, make it 3 minutes, not a minute. I think it can easily be.
But in your case, it'd have to be half an hour removable.
Yeah, exactly. But you can imagine, it's just, for instance, I'm talking, and I maybe bring up some context or something about something, and the last minute of it is a bit oof. But you didn't hear the first 5 minutes of that context. What stops people from taking it out of the system and utilising it? Now, maybe they've got that whole conversation, as you said, Stubbs, online. They can go back and double check it. But again, historically, at least in my experience and a few other people's experience, Microsoft doesn't have a good track record. You give benefit of doubt. I'm hoping it's not going to be as bad as what everyone's making it out. But I think at this stage it's going to be. I think it could be a bit more abused than what it was originally. And yeah, just because the current guidelines have been around, so Scott, Luke, doesn't mean they're great. As I think some of their guidelines needed way back ages ago needed looking at and tweaking and refining to a much more modern sensibilities. I think some of the things they've put in, and VJ, you'll know this. I think they've copied it and pasted it from other people and just stuck it in into their own system.
Right.
As I said, I've seen people use in-game clips and got banned for using in-game clips. Why? Well, why? If it's on their profile, and remember, if in-game clips are saved to your profile, you don't have to make them private. You can make them live for your friends only, or you can just make them private for yourself. If you've got clips for your friends only, or you've got a clip of there, and you can get banned for that. For an in-game clip, I don't understand that logic. It's a game which is on your system, which is why are you banning someone for a game that's on your system? Are they banning that game now for that thing? For instance,
you can make an innuendo about anything, really.
Exactly.
I mean, just look at our Stubbs' YouTube channel.
Hello?
He's gone quiet.
I'm still here. Just checking he's still there. But no, you are right. There's loads of flaws to these systems.
I'm completely wrong. I'm just messing about. I have no idea what we're talking about.
But no, I think we should move on because there is. Like you say, it does come from a place of goodness, but it's games.
It's good
it's because of. I know it's multiplayer games. It's come from toxic communities like the Gears of War community, Apex, and a lot of these games are
Not the
quite
Gears of War
toxic.
community. Can't be them.
No, they are. They're very bad.
There's
There's
a
a lot.
lot.
There's a lot.
They never do. Yeah.
So I remember years ago I was playing Gears 3, I think, and I was I was actually playing with a developer. So I weren't very good then, and it was one of the most toxic chats. I was being sworn at everything because I wasn't like a MLG pro level player. It was really bad. And there's a lot of noise.
You was just running at a wall and not moving.
Yeah, there is a lot of nice people in all gaming communities, but a lot of the shooters do have a very toxic element. If you don't live and breathe it, play hundreds of hours a week, and you're not, a pro, there is quite a lot of toxicity in the communities. That's probably why it's being done.
That should be stamped. I think that that isn't fair for a lot of people. I think we have come a little bit more as a generally we've just got a little bit more softer, and whilst it is coming from a good place, I do think we all generally need to harden up a little bit. Again, I'm probably from old school. As I said, my mantra, I was always told as a mantra, the power of words is what the individual gives to it. It's one of the things, sticks, stones, break bones, words will never help me. It's because it was a mantra. You told yourself this every day. You were the one who's in charge of giving power to words. You were the one who's in charge of being offended. And that was, I think that's kind of lost maybe on the younger generation. But I can also understand, so for instance, gaming girls or girls who game, whatever you should call them, they are often quite verbally abused when it comes to multiplayer. So I can fully understand why that is. They're trying to help that and mitigate that in some cases.
Assassin Luke had that issue though, didn't she? Hopefully she's doing okay. Not heard from her for quite a long time. Assassin Looper, she had a lot of their problems like that. She did. Hopefully she reappears and all well at some point. It's been a while though.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
I hope she's doing okay.
But I think it's one of those things. We'll see how it goes once it's implemented. It is currently in the alpha ring at the moment. I personally would like some tweaks to the system, but we'll see how it goes. We're hesitant to guess. Maybe the system's more robust. Maybe they're updating not just that system, and they're making up, everything is updating it. But as I said, I am seeing a lot more people banned or getting banned now for what would be quite silly things. I personally think, but who am I? I'm not Xbox. Anyway, as you said, let's move on to the next.
Yeah, I thought I'd just put a video up to make Indie Gamer happy. I'm surprised he's not appeared in chat. I put Silk Song up and he's not commenting in chat. But no, but the Silk Song's not a topic. I just thought I'd put the video on. Got no rise I've got no rise from India at the chat yet. But no, Starfield has gone gold. And I've downloaded it. I have.
You've only just downloaded it. I downloaded it months ago.
No, because you're an insider. You're like help.
Oh.
No,
is that what you could do?
No,
I'm sure you could literally download it, re-download it about a month ago.
No,
but you can't actually play it.
What Xbox have a habit of doing is letting you download a placeholder little file tile, and then they get once the preload's available, it downloads the actual preload.
Okay. Because mine's set automatically, so I just assume it's already. Yeah. Okay.
Starfield. So. Have you downloaded the preload? I presume, or it may have automatically done it. I think.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way.
I've got a question.
A small amount of gigabytes on there. Let's put it this way.
Have you downloaded the preload, VJ? But I think you haven't. Yeah.
I kind of with the removable on this. I think that when in Game Pass it says to you, these are the forthcoming games, and it gives you specific dates. And I think there was 2 or 3 games. There was something Star Skies or something, the new RPG top down
Mm-hmm.
coming out.
Sea of Stars.
That's
Yes.
right. Thanks. There was Lies of P, which Removable said to download. So I did.
Yep.
And
I did the demo for that as well because it was good.
And there was Starfield. So I downloaded all three, and then I spoke to you, Mr. Stubbs, and you said to me, "Have you downloaded the game?" So I went today to check in Game Pass, and the boxes are already ticked. They've already been installed. So I don't know how that works, but I'm ready to go if and when they're released, and if I'm not playing anything else.
Yeah, 125 gig is a big game. Yes.
Nah. Got my connection. Not big. It is big. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I need a memory card. That's what we did. Yeah, my only, and I think I've mentioned this on this podcast before, is that Bethesda does have a knack for games that are slightly broken at launch, and so whilst when it is ready to kind of play, I possibly will hold off for a month just to get those patches in, because they do have. It's true. They had
Starfield and broken. Come on.
I'm just kidding.
I'm
going back. I know. I'm going back on history, and they have notoriously always had things that were slightly broken for every game they've done. Now, maybe this is one of the first where nothing is broken, but this is Bethesda here, and they do have that kind of, well, if it's broken, we'll let the mods team deal with it, and then we'll put it in as our own kind of patch. So I am looking forward to Starfield, but at the same time, I'm pausing a little bit, and I'm just gonna see maybe not run into it straight away.
So here's a question that may or may not upset the chat. So obviously, I've got a big. I obviously want to play Starfield, but I have a gripe, and it's not to do with Starfield specifically. We were supposed to mention it a few shows back. So, Game Pass Ultimate, we are supposed to have the ultimate version. Ultimate. Right? A normal Game Pass, just console, you're just supposed to be normal Game Pass, right? So, you'd think you get the top versions, you don't.
No, we get the standard edition.
A load of bollocks that is, because Gears 5 was the ultimate version you got given, even though people paid 90 odd quid, and then you still got it free in Game Pass. So this new monetization, this aggressive monetization method, was done with Diablo. It was done with Forza Horizon 5. This all access, early all access, is a new aggressive monetization method of all the big companies are coming up with. Play 5 days or 4 days early. Pay up. It's wrong. That's their new thing. All companies are doing it now. Not the actual release date. We'll make them have FOMO.
Well, it's
that extra money.
It's feeding into the greed or on first play stuff sort of situation.
Yeah, but more and more companies. I'm surprised COD ain't done it yet. I'm surprised.
Look at this way.
Have they?
I wouldn't be. They probably have. I would not be surprised. You think about it, put it this way, as VJ would say, it's money left on the table, and if people are silly enough to kind of pay for that extra, get there first, so be it. Let them do it.
I will say,
it's up to them what people spend.
I would. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Well, I think it's fine. It's a financially wise decision. And it's only going to affect those who are willing to pay the money,
No, I prefer the word you were about to use.
Yeah, I quickly cut myself off a slight there.
No, but you're spot on.
I know, but it is if they're gonna, waste it to a degree. It's up to them. It's up to them. You know what people spend their money on. It's none of my business. The only thing I kind of don't want to do is I don't want spoilers, and for me that means I probably won't be. I'll be making sure Starfield is blocked in terms of conversations.
Elon will not allow that. You can't block things, mate. You can't block people soon.
Well, you can mute. So
maybe making sure that the next announcement will be you can't mute. You can't. You've got to see everything.
I can see. We kind of dive from Starfield to blooming Elon now.
No, let's get back to Starfield. That's better.
We'll get back to Starfield. We can come back to Elon later on. He's already in the stars as it is. So I can understand the reason for it. If people wish to use that money and get on early, fine, let them. It's money that's left on the table. So why wouldn't they?
I understand, but it is the new method of getting money out of people. You know what I mean? But it's business, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's business. I think it's
you may not agree with it, but it is
£30 to play it early. If you're gamepass and you want to play it the early access, I think BMG told me it's something like £34 or £30, something like that. It is.
You could get yourself a variety of awesome indie games for that.
Oh, indie game will love you for that.
It's true. It's not.
It is true.
Not taking them. So we'll see how it goes. And I said I'm just a little bit dubious of jumping in straight away anyway because they have a history of not getting it perfect when it launched. So I probably, once it does launch, I might leave it a week or 2 weeks to just let the patches come in.
Yeah,
the inevitable ones, you mean?
It's the FOMO will get a lot of people. They'll see their friends playing on it, and a lot of it works. It will work on people. It won't work on you, remember, but I can't see you've got that many reviews to do. I can't see you falling for the FOMO.
Because most people are enslaved.
Yeah, well, the trouble is I've played enough Bethesda games too. I've been burnt too often. Just put it this way, I've been burnt too often.
Do you think that this game offers anything different from the previous games, or runs on very similar formula? Just from what you've seen, I know you can't give a categorical answer to it, but just
Fallout and Skyrim are. There's different mechanics available, and there's different elements there. I think for every generation that they move forward with, it's more polished. As Dragon's saying, it's a much more polished system. I think the basic ethos of how their RPGs work will still be the same. You'll still have numerous side quests. You'll still have numerous elements to explore. Numerous areas to look. The world itself is expansive, is huge, it is explorable, and they do a brilliant job at making the world enjoyable wherever you go, and just being available to go wherever you feel like it. I suspect that's probably the same with this game as well. What they're bringing to this is obviously, they've gone into the base building, they've brought that in, now they've got in shipbuilding. They're adding more elements to it.
Yeah, there's so much.
That's the thing that worries me, because
it's 95% bland. It's an empty world. Most of the game's empty. He told Howard said that. He said a lot of it's emptiness. So if you like exploring by yourself, it's cool.
Well, no, I don't. If that is the case,
because obviously, I'm only referencing the planets.
From what I saw,
because there's that many planets. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but you can still make No Man's Sky. You can still make loads of billions of planets absolutely full and teeming with life.
I think it's very different.
They did it with procedural generated. I know this isn't going to be the case. From what they've said, they've got curated. Was it 1,000 planets? they've curated 1,000 planets. I would like to think those 1,000 planets are teeming with life of some sort. I hope it really hasn't gone down the line of like Elite Dangerous, where that is actually much more of a space simulating game where you literally rock up to a planet and it's pretty barren. You just wander around and have a look
Reading
and take
stuff
some amazing
online
visual
about that.
shots.
I'm reading some stuff online. I've been looking at posts that you've.
Did they? So Luke mentioned something. He said this is procedurally generated. Is it? I thought he was saying it's a bit of both. They're curating it, it's not as procedurally generated as say as No Man's Sky. I thought he was saying it was more. I'm probably wrong.
Luke's saying it's procedurally generated.
Oh, there you go. There's lots of curated content, but much of it is procedurally generated, like No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm presuming then they're using like a very large database of tiles, and then obviously the procedure generation is based on flicking those tiles in and out, and the same thing when it comes to life within it. Then I expect it's going to be similar to, as you said, similar to No Man's Sky, but maybe a bit more because No Man's Sky is an amazing game in itself, but that is fully procedurally generated, and it's just like, I don't know. I kind of prefer the more curated thing because I think it gives it a little bit more gravitas to the player. I think sometimes some procedurally generated, if it's not done well, can be just boring, for the player. I'm hoping that's not the case here. I'm hoping that they focus more on the curated rather than too much procedure. I think the balance between procedure generated and curated content, that's what's going to be. We'll see, won't we? We'll all find out. And
I have no experience with Bethesda games really, so.
You've never played a Fallout game. You've never played a.
I've given Elder Scrolls Online a go, and given.
I thought he was going to say Elden Ring there for a minute.
Given
No.
Given Skyrim a go and Oblivion a go, but never really got into any of them, really. Jubei, hang on, sorry, VJ. Welcome to Jubei Sensei. Thanks for popping in, mate. Carry on, VJ. Just give someone a shout out.
It's difficult, isn't it, with every new game? I mean, I enjoy Game Pass so far, in terms of the offerings it has, the price point, the accessibility of the price point, the content that they're providing, and the rewards program. So there's no reason not to try it. But at the same time, I mean, I speak to people, here and there as well that have given me an idea of what to expect. But I think there are quite a few games actually coming out between the end of this month and towards the end of the year. And obviously, I think I dropped in the DMs yesterday, or I might have posted it on the Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. The man who erased his name. So
that looks very good.
I think it's probably going to be, whether I'm sure Luke's going to play it, yourself, Stubbs, and Removal. I'll wait until you three have played it, because I play games that all three of you play. So, and it's not really a game I would want to start and then start. It'd be something that I'd have to.
Well, I think you can play co-op as well, if I'm correct.
So Starfield co-op? I don't know. Is it?
I thought there was.
I haven't heard anything to the like.
Is it co-op?
I've never heard anyone talk about co-op features.
Because I thought
I'm sure someone in chat will mention.
It says no, Starfield will not have a co-op mode at launch.
At launch.
We've
heard this one. At launch. Halo Infinite at launch. No co-op at launch.
Take off and chase after Removal's spaceship and then say, "Where are you?" So, well, I'm on the other side of the galaxy, and I'll say, "Well, where is that?" And he'll say, "Oh, over here."
Yeah.
Then I can't hear him because he's been banned. He's been struck off. But yeah, that would be
maybe
great.
That's the case then. Maybe it's the case we hold off a little bit, wait for a co-op, or let's that, and then kind of do it together.
Yeah, I think I probably
gives it a much more, because then you can have it as much more, a unique experience to what everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, it seems like a really grand experience, but I just get this sense that there might, open world games are really, really, difficult to get right, and with I think there's a lot of expectations. And I think that when you're going to approach something like this, you've got to invoke a little, how can I put it, tabula rasa, shall we
Yeah.
say?
Well, in fairness to them, they are one of the better.
You better tell removal. Sorry, removal. You better tell Stubbs what that means, right? Because otherwise he's going to wonder what the hell are we talking about.
Now I'll let you Google it. I will say, Bethesda does have a knack for producing some of the best open world games. So they have the pedigree. They do have that pedigree to provide something that is a really good experience. It's just they also have a pedigree for not polishing it off correctly, and it's a buggy mess right at the bloody beginning. You know, the games I've always seen is like the game that is launched versus the game about 2 years down the line of very different games.
So basically, it's either going to be Starfield or Shitfield, basically, is what you're saying.
I am not saying anything. I am just going to bucklist. I am I am going to be cautious.
Open-minded reviewer.
Open-minded and cautious.
Never to let on about his opinion until he's fully played it.
Yeah,
well, you can never tell. I mean,
this harks back to the fact, it's in Game Pass, and you can pretty much experience it anytime after launch. Perhaps other than those that have, paid the additional amount to have early access, which doesn't bother me either way. Other than the fact that I do concur with Stubbs, the fact that when Forza 5 was released and suddenly if you want to access it 4 or 5 days earlier, pay another 30, 40 quid for it, which really didn't tickle my fancy, let's say that. So yeah, closer to time. I think the reviews are coming out several days before the game's released, at the end of this month, apparently 31st of August, which is about a week before the game's out. So they must be reasonably confident in terms of what they've produced. And as I say, it's in the game. So let's see.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
See, the thing is, I remember
confidence. Confidence. You've hit the nail on the head there, VJ. Confidence, yes. Their confidence in their abilities, I've always found. I think their ego.
You know what?
In their abilities is more.
It's funny you should say ego, because I was just about to say, you mentioned a book a couple of episodes back, The Madness of the Crowd, and I've actually read The Wisdom of the Crowd, and I actually thought to myself, actually, you know what? Both of these books are completely useless. There should be a book out there called The Ego of the Crowd. Well, perhaps there is, but that's fundamentally what it should be about. But at the end of the day, even books are quite useless. At the end of the day, they don't outwit your own experience, right? So no, I think you're spot on there.
Yeah, sorry. I think they are a little bit. They have a bit of a big of an ego, and their ego gets the better of them.
Wouldn't you after you just been paid $7 billion for the second coming? Yeah,
well, don't get me wrong. It's a reputation that's well deserved in terms of what they produce. It is just as again, they just well known also for amazing games that are just buggy.
I'm with you. You're only as good as your last game.
And to be fair, Fallout 76 was. Well, perfect example of Bethesda. Fallout 76 was absolutely horrendous when it launched. Now it's a much, much better game. But when it launched, it put a hell of a lot of people off, and it had some horrendous issues with it. And that's what that's what's got my heckles up slightly. I'm like, maybe Todd has made it better. Maybe he's learned a lesson. But I mean, it's happened with Skyrim. It's happened with Fallout. It's happened with, pretty much every game they've produced. I don't think there is a lesson learned with Todd. I think it's a situation where it's just like, stick to what they know, even with the bugs, and wing it. And then patch it later. So, well, let's see. I'm hoping I'm 100% wrong. We'll find out very shortly.
We'll have to see. I'm hoping that it at least beats the experience I had with playing Redfall, which I would like a refund on my time. Just in case BMG is still here. Just so I can...
He's here, yeah.
He's here, so we'll re-say my speech. Yep, the aggressive monetization methods created by these big companies to create FOMO for the game, to create extra money. 30 quid extra. Just so it's not really
if
fair.
If you've got
but
money to spend,
a good business model.
Who are we?
Great.
Who are we? Who are we?
There'll be a proportion of
it should be included in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate because it's the Ultimate package. Need to change that name. Just call it Xbox Game Pass because that's what it is. The standard versions. When you don't get the top versions anymore. You used to. They don't do it anymore, so just call it Xbox Game Pass and drop this whole Ultimate version. Because they call it Ultimate because you get to play the PC version, you get the cloud, you get the console.
Can I just ask, is this sort of fear of missing out really real? Or...
Yeah, it's a real thing. A lot of people go on.
Do people really think like that at
they
our
do.
age? I mean, I can understand if you're a 3-year-old.
They do.
Some people do want to be first when it comes to playing it. And
I thought you were just going to say
I wasn't saying BMG's doing that because BMG's really looking forward to Starfield. I want to know in general.
It was a general question, not about Starfield, but are people still in the mindset that if they don't have something that their neighbor has, or have it before other people, or will have to wait to have it, that they're perturbed by that, and does that affect their psyche? And if the answer is yes, as in what you're saying, I mean, I don't know how prevalent that is. It's quite alarming.
I think there is something to that. I think there is that feeds into a slight ego, but I don't think that's a majority of people. I think
not majority,
some people who
exist,
in
some shape, way, or form.
But as we've said, it's as I think we've mentioned before, it's cash laying on the table. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be 1 million to 2 or 3 million. Do you remember on Forza 5, they actually said there was about 1 million people that subscribed to the early access.
The FOMO was massive for that game, massive.
And what you've got to look at is that's potentially royalties that will go for the studio. So someone's benefiting from it somewhere. And Starfield is
without a doubt.
It's a very costly project. There's no doubt about it.
I look at it this way. For instance, BMG, he's going to be doing it. Fair play to him. Fantastic. BMG is going to be the beta tester for the rest of us. He's the alpha program.
Is that what you call a backhanded compliment?
Oh, I didn't think you were going to say that. He's so excited. You've spoiled it for him.
I think we're going to have to get him. I think we're going to have to get BMG on the show for Starfield week.
Yeah, probably. Probably. He won't come. He's already booked the afternoon off for it.
Yeah, get him on.
He's definitely alpha. Yeah, you are definitely alpha, my friend. You are. No, I think. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's one of these things. I really hope it does well. I really do. I just have, history with Bethesda games. And we'll see how it goes. But anyway, Starfield. We will find out in 10 days' time. It's going to either, whatever it does, it will break the internet. Because let's face it, whether you hate it, people will be talking about it. Whether you love it, people are talking about it. Whether you're ambivalent to it, you probably won't be talking about it.
Sorry, did you mean people will hate it when they actually get to play, or people hating now?
Both. Yeah, we're already seeing that for the Metacritic kind of review bombing now. There's some silly people out there who kind of just want to do it.
There is some silly people, VJ. People have been commenting on the bloody start menu, VJ. It's people got no better to do with their lives.
I don't know anything about that.
No, they've been commenting on they don't like the start menu. They've got no better to do with their life, so VJ. You got to wait for the game and play it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. See, this is why I always have an issue with Twitter and what it portrays in terms of mankind's just blatant ignorance of existence. But anyway, we won't go into that because I'll remove it all off and then we'll be here till tomorrow.
Let's just say that I think it's what we can say is For the game to be in Game Pass is definitely helping.
Plus,
Just for that game alone
yeah, agreed.
is worth the money.
Yep.
So let's just, I think we can simply say for Starfield being in Game Pass alone, definitely worth that alone.
Yeah.
Is worth the money. And so you think of all the other games that are currently coming out, you can't argue that it's not value for money.
Well,
at this point, I don't see
pay-
how anyone can say that.
I don't see the value. I don't pay for it.
You don't pay for it, or you don't think it's value.
I don't pay for Game Pass.
The thing is with the Game Pass, you don't pay for it. But the benefit of Game Pass is that you have the partial access
Yes,
to
the benefit
reward
is that.
program, which in turn attributes to you being able to enjoy Game Pass for a relatively low fee, which in turn only exemplifies or magnifies the point that Removable said about Game Pass being worth its weight in gold because you can play games like Starfield. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
And remember, it's not just Starfield out there. We are saying Starfield alone. There are hundreds of games in there, including some brilliant indie games in there
It is.
that
It
you
is.
can play for free.
Hang on,
Exactly.
I've got one that there's there's Bramble. Been playing Bramble, and there's loads.
There you go.
There's
So
loads of
you
indie
think
games.
about it. So think about it.
Here's a
You
game
have had to
that
pay for that.
Removable can't stop playing. Not in Game Pass, but this is a game he's been playing recently.
What's that?
Atlas Fallen. It's
It's,
on
it's,
screen
I
now.
really did like. Yeah, I really did like this game. It was really game. I really did like this game. I was very impressed with it. There's some like the odd issues with it. The odd clipping here and a little bit of popping, but overall, for what I got out of it, I really enjoyed it. It was a lovely, down to earth, Darksiders in an open world sort of game that was just enjoyable. It was a really enjoyable sort of game, and you could switch it up as well, like the actual different ways to tweak your character in terms of abilities and exploration. Really good. I hope they do a DLC for it because I think they did a bloody good job. And this is a new genre for Deck 13. They were well known for Dark Souls. This is not a Dark Souls game.
You reviewed this, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
You are becoming the AAA reviewer.
I wouldn't classify myself as AAA. I'm just very lucky that someone out there, when I put in for games, has just said yes, you can. I am still like my game I'm reviewing will hopefully be out tomorrow. Is nowhere up to this scale. So I get the odd occasional ones. But my main ethos is still going to be the indie games themselves. It's just that I was very lucky to get this. I don't know how the hell I got it. I still don't know how.
They probably like the reviews you do and thought, well, this guy actually will review our game.
Well, that's it. I do that, and I do written and video. So it's like I just don't do one review. I do 2 reviews. So they are getting something. They're not just getting the basic bog standard review sort of thing. I try to, as you know, give it the best in-depth review I could possibly do. So, it's triple gay. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really did. It's one of those things, and it's out now. This would be perfect. This would have been perfect for Game Pass.
I did say triple A gamer. Maybe you heard me wrong. No, I did not reference that indie. But maybe you just heard me wrong.
But this would have been perfect for Game Pass. I really do believe that this would have been perfect for Game Pass.
Probably might come at some point. You never know.
And it's co-op as well, which I was just surprised. It's like it's co-op, so you can go explore this really lovely world, and enjoy just beating the crap out of big monsters. I said I enjoyed it. Not some people didn't, and there you go. But yeah.
It does look good. It does.
I must admit, I had a really good time with it. I must admit, I really did. He's gone quiet now.
Bramble's back on now.
Yeah, Bramble. Put Bramble on again. That's another
Yeah.
game that is well received.
I'm actually liking this. It's one of these games that over time I'm not the best at playing games, as people know, but there's a lot of puzzles in that, and I'm being able to solve the puzzle without having to go to YouTube or cheat or give up. It's quite a good game. I'm getting better at games over
It's
time.
also
I'm trying to
it's also
defeat him.
what I
It's
like
more rewarding when you work out how to do the puzzle yourself, or you can beat a certain bit. I do like this game. It's hard to describe it. It's a bit like Limbo and Inside, but it's also it's very light, as you can see. There's light elements, dark elements, but sometimes it sounds like a fairy tale as well.
Well, it is based on I think it's Norwegic. Was it Norwegian law? I think it's based on. I can't remember. I'm not 100% sure. Please forgive me if it's not Norwegian or maybe it's Icelandic, or it is based on Scandinavian. I don't know, fairy law.
It would sound that way, the way the story is. Yeah. I'm not going to ruin it for him.
So it's Nordic. So it's Nordic. So yeah, thanks, Indy. And yes, I am going to WSD, and EGX. So yes, I will be there. But yes, it is Nordic, and it's this just that I like, where you're bringing in different cultures, almost cultural lore into a game that we would experience it, so that it's Kenyan.
I'm not going to laugh though. When I first seen his sister, and she's like singing, I thought it was I thought this game's bloody Frozen. What's going on here? Because if you look at it, looks like from the girl from Frozen, Elsie or Arnie, or one of the two, you know. But no, it's very, very enjoyable game. Also very scary, and at points it shits me up, you know. So yes, it's a good game so far. It is. I'll keep.
You just got to complete it, mate. That's all you got to do. Just complete it.
I've got to pass that tutorial bit. Don't worry. There isn't one, but I've got past it. No,
I've heard good things about this game, I must admit, and it's
It was recommended. I'll tell you who recommended it. Can't think of a name. You know, New Soul podcast on Sundays.
I've seen a lot. It
was recommended. It was on that podcast. It got recommended.
Yeah,
it did.
I did actually get the chance to review it, but I turned it down. It's one of those things. I was so busy. It's like, yeah. I knew. I knew. I look at it as like, I know I'm going to enjoy this, but it's like, look, I had a couple of other things going on at the same time. It was like work, other games to review, and it's just like all of them hit in the space of like one wrong moment. It's like, oh no. So, but no, it is, and I hope this will continue. I hope we get different cultures, lore, inspirational, cultural, fairy tales, if you may say, to other people, because it's intriguing to see what other cultures' fairy tales are similar, but at the same time is also very different in how they view things very differently. But the ethos of them is very similar, regardless of the culture you're either born in or from. I found it's a very beautiful and unique game, and I hope more of these games come to Game Pass, because I do believe we do need to see more of them. I do believe this is one of the things we need more games like this, to kind of give people new experiences.
So that's where I say I don't see the value of Game Pass, but I do, because the amount of different games that I've been able to try and play would never get the opportunity, really, because there's not that many demos for games, or there is, but it's not the same because it's all included in the service. And it's like I never would have played Yakuza if it wasn't for Game Pass. Never would have thought in a million years to try Yakuza. Obviously, VJ recommended Yakuza, but
you better be there. You better be there for Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name.
I need to. Yeah. It does look good. I'll give you
I'm
that.
I'm just
The-
I'm
the-
just
the-
kidding.
the-
I just
The
I'm just
trailer,
kidding. I just saw the trailer yesterday, and
the trailer will be on there, but the app I use won't let me download it at all.
no. It's not.
But
It's not that. It's just I just saw the trailer yesterday by chance.
it's got a very different fight system. It's got like an agent system or Yakuza style as
Yep.
well.
Yeah,
Very
I
different.
mentioned it here before, but obviously no one was listening. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I did mention
It's
it
like
before, but,
superhero moves though. I don't get it.
no,
It's weird.
It's not that. Just everything that I think that they're offering this time in the game. I mean, I spotted a lot of stuff, but so I've already decided how I'm spending my 300 hours in the game.
Doesn't surprise me. But the question I think you should be asking VJ is, did you watch the Wulong demos that are being sent out at the moment on YouTube? Not Wulong. Is it Wulong? It's the one with the monkey. Black, is it?
Oh, yeah, Wukong, yeah, Black Myth.
Wukong. Is it Wukong? Wukong.
Yeah.
Damn. Did you see some of the demos of that? I was like,
I haven't seen anything
Jesus.
on it. I haven't seen anything on it, to be honest with you.
Ooh, literally, I think it was yesterday, they dropped an hour. Some people are dropping hour-long demos. The demos that was at some of these conventions. Black Myth, that's it.
Okay.
And it does look really good. And
Have
I'm like,
you put it up, Stubbs, or do I have to find it?
no, he hasn't bloody well found it, has
I
he?
haven't downloaded it. I just thought I'd put that on for BMG. Oh no, it's Halo.
It does look really, really good. And I was like, oof. This, I think to be honest, I think this is
Yeah, I've just found an hour-long video for it. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Removable. Have you watched it already?
I saw, because different people are doing different things. I think it's the same demo, but obviously different people will be doing different sort
Yeah,
of.
of course, yeah.
Just
like the
and
Zelda
I've
Tears of the
seen
Kingdom,
some thing. I don't want to go too far and look at everything just in case it spoils it. But the same thing, what I did see, it does look really good. And the 3 fighting stances, that works really, really well.
Oh, that reminds me of the system in Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
and the Yakuza series, I suppose.
So, yes, I will. I think that'd be one of my games that I'll probably end up getting.
Removable. Was there any signs of a date?
They did say
Was that not intimated?
November 2024.
Wow, still a way off.
I think they said November 2024. But I think because they said every August 20th they drop something more.
Right.
And I think this time it was the demo. I'm hoping they drop a demo to us. I really would be nice if they dropped a demo to what's it called on the systems. That'd be good. And for those who have, this is a good game as well, which is on the screen right now. I have played this. This is very good fun as well. Stubbs has gone to sleep again.
I
So
apologies. Can't believe it. It's my podcast. You see, I know everyone's joking, but the abuse I'm getting in chat. I know
they're just basically saying that your 3-minute reviews are,
I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother doing one. I'm not wasting my time. I'll just play the game. No point.
Vampire Survivors. Oh, Survivors. Okay.
It's got
That's
co-op.
good. Yeah, the single player is brilliant. Actually, it's really
play
addictive.
with yourself. That should get a community ban.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I don't know why they.
Co-op. Okay, you can play co-op with it. That's gonna be good. That'd be good. Have you played this? Haven't you, TJ?
Yeah, I'm quite a way in. I've got about 40 achievements in it. I know there's about 190. I've got 40.
Jesus, you've got 40 achievements. Jesus Christ, you've got a hell of a hard it. And Jesus, yeah. Looks like we might need to play co-op on this then when they bring.
I enjoy it a lot.
When is it dropping the co-op? As it said,
it's already in Game Pass.
Oh no! Dropping the co-op. I know the game is.
Co-op's already available. I'm assuming, yeah. In co-op.
No, I don't think it was. It was only single player. As far as I was.
Out now, it says.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, brilliant. Oh,
I'm
fantastic.
sure there's an option that I've seen on my screen that says co-op.
only like £4 anyway. The game is £3 or £4. I know it's in Game Pass, but it's like £3 or £4.
It's a lot. I find it a lot quite addictive. Actually, I play it once a day at least. So
It's an easy thing, isn't it? Just to get up to level 30 and just like.
no, it's not. It's not that easy because how can I explain it? Each level has different magics, and you can combine magics, and then you can.
Oh yeah, well I normally use what's it called, garlic and Bibles.
Garlic is the best.
Yeah, but it doesn't. The more you play the game, a bit like what's that? Mech Warrior 5 removal. You know, you start out and you think, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then later you've got to be able to tweak your characters. You've got to understand what you're up against, and then and that's why they've got different characters with different attributes.
Yeah, I've got about 3/4 of them, I think.
Because I use.
But I haven't. I use all different. We should play this as a co-op. I think we'll jump on together and.
I really enjoy it. It's quite a clever game. It's a bit.
Now what there is now, it's obviously it's a plethora now of copycats of this now, isn't it?
I will correct you. This is a copycat of other games. This wasn't the first. This is the one that got popular. There's tons.
I wouldn't be surprised. Oh yeah, games are always copycating.
Yeah, but this is the one that took off.
There's only one true creator, and that's Mother Earth. Everything else stems from there.
Back from the dead, welcome, mate. Thanks for popping in. 14 people in chat, eh? 11 likes. Can we get that up to 14 likes?
I keep getting annoyed with Ponicle. They keep messing up my 100% completion of Vampire Survivors when they add content. Jesus.
Wow.
Well, there's a man who's definitely gone through this. And Dazzy's on his second playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, I've done mine.
He kind of needs to go through it at least 5 times. Come on, Daz, chop.
No, I've been through it a second time through, but I'm really pleased because I didn't know UK Daz was I knew he was a fan of Street Fighter, but I didn't know he was a huge fan of Final Fantasy. So he's probably like me, awaiting Rebirth, which looks astonishing compared to the first game. And the first game's incredible. But yeah, that's another game to look forward to from Square.
It is going to be. I think this. Can you really say this? This year has been very, very good for gaming.
Every year is very good, really. Let's be honest.
I think this year's kind of it's pushed it out a little bit more. I think they've the things that at least from the indie side, I've just found out it's like there's been this amazing selection of games just being punched out. I know every year is always good, but this year is just like it was above and beyond. If that would make sense.
It's always enough controllers for Xbox to bring out.
Oh God, no! Well, now there's not controllers; it's wraps.
£45 for a wrap.
Jesus Christ!
How much is it?
$45, which means it's 45 quid because they don't change the bloody price in England.
I may have got it wrong, but I read someone saying that was 45 quid.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. It is because it's like the wrap itself looks like it's a slight foam with a nice coloured leather exterior to it. But even still, that's expensive as hell. I wouldn't be surprised.
Starfield wrap for the Xbox Series X indie gamer. They've released some.
Well, as long as it comes with avocado and chicken.
However, if they were to release a Gears one, I'd pay it.
I wouldn't.
I think look for third parties when they start doing third party ones. Maybe it'd be
there
interesting.
Was some third party
45 quid for a wrap. Jesus.
There was because I remember when we beat gaming. Mr.
Those were vinyl that you stuck to the absolute console, and I was never a fan of doing something like that to my console.
No, the ones that Tushi bought were off.
You stuck them. Don't get me wrong. I love Pope's designs.
Yeah, but you could take them off.
Stick. Yeah,
it was a shell. It was a plastic thing. You just stuck it out. You just, as in, it fit round it. You could pull it off.
No. The one he was.
Are you describing Durex again?
No.
I'm sure Tushi's one was because it was Cyberpunk, and it was a
Cyberpunk,
sticker. It was a sticker vinyl that he stuck
Oh,
on it.
I
I'm
didn't
sure
know.
because he got.
Oh, I didn't think it was that. Okay.
No, it is. I'm sure it is because he was
We'll have to
trying to
get
line
Tucci.
up all the holes.
We'll have to get Tucci on here one Monday. We will. It's been too long.
Yeah, no, because this is why I prefer this sort of wrap because it is literally effectively like a cardboard that you just wrap around, and it's got Velcro at the back, and it just holds it on that way. It doesn't have,
Well, indie gaming. Yep, you are right there. People will pay anything for Xbox stuff. They will. They'll pay anything. But Starfield on it, and they pay £45.
I can't.
I'm
I
telling
just
you
can't
now,
afford
they
it.
will sell out. People will buy them.
Removable. Is it?
FOMO.
Money aside, if money wasn't the issue, would you? Because it's just not something that intrigues me or interests me whatsoever. That's just me. I'm in the minority in most things, but
I
kind of like. I like the black design. I like the black design, but I would like. I also am a little bit of a stickler for the console versions that have something different to them. So, Sea of Thieves controller looked amazing. I was like, oh, I could see myself probably buying one of those. I never did because I didn't have the money, but I can see myself in some of different colours and different skins. It's just too expensive for me. I don't have that,
No, I know what you mean. I'd rather spend the £45 on Like a Dragon, the Man Who Erased His Name.
Mm.
Right?
Oh, this is kind of money to money sake.
I was just going to say.
Hang on a minute. Right, sorry, Dragon Ball's just popped into the chat, and he says no. Mr. Tushi's wrap was actually vinyl.
That's what I said.
That's not a sticker, is it? Vinyl's like plastic. It's a plastic.
Vinyl, the vinyl you stick to the actual.
I'm gonna have to ask Tushi. I don't believe
you stick it to the actual machine itself. You can peel it off again. Don't get me wrong, but you literally just stick it to your machine, and I never liked that sort of situation.
Really? Luke would rather buy 4 copies of Hollow Knight than buy one of them wraps.
There you go. I'm with whoever said that.
Luke
did.
There you go.
Sensible man.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't look. At the end of the day, each to his own. Some people really love to have that kind of exuberant outlook to their system, but are really bad at games, and I think they're just making up the difference.
I just can't afford it.
You can. You just spend your money more wisely.
Well, I'd have to save tremendously for that sort of thing, and in my head, it was like, well, I can just buy, a good 15 or 20 indie games that's going to keep me busy for the next 6 years.
Yep. I was just going to say, that I don't want to go on about, but the Man Who Erased His Name. I don't know if you saw in the trailer. There's a section in terms of all the Sega back catalog retro games you can play, and many of them aren't.
I did notice that.
It had Alex Kidd. It's just got quite a few some Mega Drive and Master System games you can play. So I'm going to spend about 5 hours reconnecting with the past with Sega's back catalog. 10 hours, I think, probably completing side quests. 25 hours probably playing the main story. Maybe 5. No, not another 5. So that's 40. So out of 300, that's 260 left, which will be spent in the Cabaret Club in co-op mode with the both of you, with a side order of karaoke and probably a high-grade sake. Desai sake. There you go. So I hope this got co-op.
Spice Girls.
That's 260 hours of Cabaret guys. You're going to have to stick with me in co-op and sing karaoke.
See, that would be a good. Yeah,
we'll just
they don't do co-op their games, do they?
I'm just saying, imagine if it was co-op, right? We'd be in the karaoke bar, we'd be drinking sake, we'd go out and beat a load of people up and then go back in again.
Like real life.
In Pink Street. You know Pink Street very well, Stubbs. Don't tell me you don't know Pink Street. It's the red light district in
Yakuza.
Not in Akihabara. Oh my goodness. What's the location called?
Oh.
What's the in Yakuza? Hold on.
I can't think of it.
Yakuza location. Oh God. Oh, Camarucho. Yes, the red
Yeah,
light district. in
Camarucho. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that well. Yeah.
And it's a pit called Pink
You
Street.
dirty sod.
What do you mean dirty sod? Anyone who plays the game frequents there.
I know. I'm just saying.
There's been another game delay. Indie Gamer says Replace has been delayed till 2024 now. By the way.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, I had a gut feeling that was the case because I follow the developer and I don't think he is fully happy with it. He seems like he is one of those guys that until it's perfect how he wants it, he's not going to release it.
That's fair enough. His
and that's a good attitude to have, to be honest with you. So I had a gut feeling from the way he was commenting in general when people kept asking him. I think it's the wise choice.
That's fair. It is. Yeah, I think we had a gaming podcast this week. We actually had a full show of talking about gaming. We did. It's been a fun show.
We did.
It has. It's been a fun show.
Oh, you know that there's Majima-san and I think it was Daigo from Yakuza 2, Mr. Stubbs.
Yeah.
They're both reprising their roles alongside Kiryu-san. I think they're more than just supporting or cameo roles. I think they're in here with him in the main storyline. And
so it's a bit hard because what do I? Obviously,
get a grip and start playing some games.
You actually got to complete tons of games to catch up, or do you just jump to like a dragon?
Bin your PC.
No, it's not happening. I need that 120 frames per second.
Oh my goodness.
What I was about to say is, did anyone see the news today that dropped about Mario?
Yes. The original voice actor
He's retired.
Yeah, he's still going to be an ambassador for Nintendo, going to the events, etc. But he's not going to be doing the recordings for the games anymore. He's stepping away, retiring.
Which is an absolute shame because Joshua is like, who can they get to kind of voice Mario that can get that iconic voice perfect?
In the games, you mean?
Mm.
Well, I've played most of the Mario games, and he doesn't really say very much.
I'm saying, have they got them all clipped on a soundboard?
You think you could do an AI version?
That's what I'm saying. You never know.
Well, to be fair, they could do if he's willing to give it the rights, because you look at Val Kilmer
says
on the latest, the latest Top Gun film, they used his son to do the lines, and they used historical footage to overlay it and basically bring his voice out because he's got throat cancer or had throat cancer. So there is just the actual, what's it called, AI out there to do it and help out. So you never know.
That's true. You never know.
This Hollow Knight really was a phenomenal game. Removable.
I'll just play it to keep Indie Gamer happy. Looks quite good. See, it's back on the Xbox now. It's back on the Xbox. It is.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal game.
And when I was looking through my Xbox, I thought, I'm going to compare myself to Removable Sanity. And I was like, I can't. He's not played it. So,
well, no, not on my. I said no, it's not on my.
It was 0 minutes, 0 seconds, 0 hours.
Mm.
I thought at least I was like, I got 1%, but honestly, I thought you played a couple of hours here and there. I did, but.
No, I played for about an hour.
Went
I said
through.
About an hour when it first was mentioned on my brother's Xbox. I think he then went off and because he enjoyed it, he went off and played it, and I think he's completed it. I think he has. Yeah. It's been a while since been a huge loss.
He's never going to leave you now. Now you've told him your brother's completed it. Well,
My brother he has a knack. He's completed the original He's completed every Dark Souls game. I think even in hard, and he's also got 100%ed The Witcher 3. He absolutely adores those games to the point of just obsession. But now he's got children like I have, young children. It's just not happening. In fact, I actually for his Chris birthday last year, I actually got him Elden Ring, and he hasn't played it yet. I keep saying to him, he's like, I don't have the time. It's just when you've got young kids, it's a tough game, But yeah, he's I think he's 1,000 pointed pretty much every Dark Souls that was on the Xbox. I don't know if he's played Bloodborne. I think he says he wants to play Bloodborne because I think that's another thing. He's tried to go through almost every From Software game, and I said he's 100%ed Witcher 3. That should tell you something in terms of how he likes these sort of games. He absolutely adores really long, 60 hours, 100-hour plus games sort of thing. And I used to, I just don't have time. Kids don't allow me to do so now. Not young children.
Fair enough. But no, I will bring footage next week. I will put it in the feed. Me trying to play Hollow Knight. So if you want a good laugh, tune in next Monday. I will.
You say that you probably get about 50,000 views.
Well, wouldn't that be awesome? That would be.
So are you saying you're going to actually do a live stream? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, not a chance on earth.
You'll be doing a live stream.
I'm going to make a video. I'm going to record.
I'll be the one actually holding the controller.
Record some footage, and I'll pull it in here for people to laugh at. I will.
Okay, so look, at least tell me that at least tell everybody that when Silksong arrives in Game Pass, you will at least attempt it, both of you.
I will download it so they get another download, and I will give it. I will give it a go.
He's only doing that to give his internet a workout.
Mm-hmm.
I do like to test my internet.
He's got good internet now as well, so he doesn't have no.
I don't even think about the games. It doesn't matter, like. Because when people say, "Oh well, 125 gigabytes a lot for Starfield," I'm like, "Oh, I'll just test it. Just download this, that, and the other. I don't care."
No, I don't think he meant in the site in terms of downloading it. I think he just meant in the size of in the terms of the amount of content that's been compressed or data that's been compressed for the game itself. But perhaps it's a good thing. Perhaps it's. I have no idea of telling you. I've no way of telling you.
The trouble is, he's got all those PC games he wants to try and play as well.
Oh, you mean Edith Finch?
Yeah, he said he didn't like that, but he wants to try again. He always like.
Trust me, Indy, I was only kidding. It was a joke. I know that game, Hollow Knight Silksong, is going to bang numbers. It's going to be the top-selling game on all platforms the day it's released. Game Pass is #1 game. They don't need my download. I was only kidding, but I will definitely try it. Obviously.
If I remember correctly, didn't say Indy said he was going to do a live stream for when he first starts playing it.
I won't put Indy under that much pressure. It's a high pressure. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. That's Indy a lot of pressure.
I think Indy can do it. He can.
Hollow Knight community are quite brutal. They can be.
Oh,
they're perfectionists. Yeah, can be. It's a lot of pressure.
VJ is part of the Hollow Knight community, so come on.
I don't know about that. The only person I've spoken to Hollow Knight about is Indy, because he was on my case day and night to make sure I'd actually made some progress.
To be fair, if Andy did do a live stream, I think he'd do pretty well. People would like it.
He would.
But I do know it's a high pressure because they're a very lovely, rapid fan base. They are. The problem is sometimes
rapid or rabid.
Rabbit. Rabbit. The problem is though, I suppose that would ruin it for Indie Gamer because he's about.
You're not enjoying it yourself, is it? You'll
get people telling him what to do. It would distract him. I know how Indie likes to be in the moment, explore for himself, not have every Tom, Dick, and Harry telling him what to do and what's around the corner, etc. I think he'd rather enjoy the experience himself. I'm sure Indy would agree with that.
I don't know. He said, "I'm certainly not scared of doing a stream if that's what you're suggesting." Strange.
No, I wasn't suggesting that. I know how hyper a game like Hollow Knight can
God,
be.
BMG's basically put his foot in it, and I'm just going to go sit there and wait.
Removable. I've got a question for you. I know it's a bit off topic. When you were playing Mech Warrior, one of the great games I've played this year, well, if not in a very, very long time, how many hours did you play it before you knew that this game was something else, or had you already managed to scope that out for yourself from a trailer or something?
So, I had spotted. I was pretty much a MechWarrior fan from the original times, from the original sort of MechWarrior games from the PC. I was looking for another mech game after Titanfall 2, and I had scoped out. I just basically clicked on MechWarrior games, and this kind of popped up in my vision. So I was a bit dubious of it, to be honest with you, because you've got MechWarrior Online, and obviously you've got MechWarrior Mercenaries, which is what the game is. And I was just lucky enough to get to the DLC to review. So when I played the DLC and reviewed the DLC, that was when it kind of kicked to me that this game was one of those games that is just going to be sitting in my library on such a regular basis that I'm just going to keep going backwards and forwards to. And that's when I kind of knew it was something special. It's the same thing at the moment. There's another game I fall back into. There's about two or three games I consistently fall back into and just play. And another one is called Mad Max. And that's another really good game. As an old game, which gets, I think, the 4K treatment with the background compatibility. Mad Max is another brilliant game. And some games, I think it's because of the way, the content I'm reviewing, I'm always reviewing games. And it's a privilege to do so. But sometimes you just need something to turn your brain off a little bit and just sit there and relax and enjoy. And I'm not consistently, because when I review games, I'm consistently looking for things to talk about, looking for the frame rates, looking for the pop-ins, looking for the graphical fidelities, looking for the control systems, looking for, I'm technically over-analyzing the game. And so, whilst you're doing that, you can't always fully enjoy it to its most, to its benefit. And I think sometimes for me, I like to fall back. This is why I like Quake 2. I jumped back into Quake 2 again because it was something that I could kind of switch off from over-analyzing and just sit there and enjoy, not think about it too much. And that's just my brain set. When I go into review games, I go kind of hyper focused, and so I need a break from that, and that's why I kind of then jump into these games. And Mech Warrior is definitely one of those games where, so I said to you, one of the games is like you don't have to play, you don't have to complete it. You can still go in there and just keep playing the game and keep moving forward without even having to complete it.
I was compelled to complete it and get all the achievements.
That's exactly it.
One achievement I have to still get, but yeah.
I think I know the one you're talking about as well. But there's this DLC now. DLC you can go through, which will completely switch all of that up. Yeah, I think that's what I've said to you. I said if you do the DLC, it will switch it up even more so, and it adds so much of an extra multiple layers on top of that. It's a unique game. And it was a shame that when you was going through it, I didn't get the time to kind of jump in with you and co-op with you, because I think that would have been just as good as well.
Yeah. No. The reason why I asked the question is Hollow Knight was similar to me. I struggled with it at first because I hadn't played a game like Hollow Knight in forever. I mean, if you go back and play some of the platform retro games on the Mega Drive or Master System, even the Super Nintendo, etc., you realize how tough they are and how archaic the controls actually feel. But it's
There's a
Hollow
sense
Knight.
of achievement there, isn't it? Though.
Not really a sense of what it is that when you play Hollow Knight, initially you feel, well, you're kind of perturbed in terms of what the hell is going on, because this is not designed like a typical video. It is, but it isn't. It has its own uniqueness, set of rules to it, and so on and so forth. But what you find is that after 2-3 hours, all of a sudden, I don't want to say the game grows on you, but you grow into the game. And all of a sudden, everything suddenly clicks. The control system, you're no longer thinking about what buttons you're pressing.
So she's a mechware, isn't it?
It just becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, I remember using the exact word, second nature, to Indy after complaining to him for about half an hour. But after 2-3 hours, all of a sudden, you're so immersed, so invested, and the game is so enjoyable. It's so full of discovery. In every aspect, right? There's too many aspects to a video game to list out, but you can understand when I say it's all encompassing. But and even what you're seeing on the screen now, when I'm seeing Hollow Knight now, the trailer play, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm seeing the Silk Song trailer, but this still looks better. It's like, how is that game going to top this? It's really intriguing. Not just the fact that I want to play Silk Song for the sake of playing it or because I enjoyed Hollow Knight. It's just that Hollow Knight was so complete. From the outset, in terms of in its entirety as a single standalone game, and the fact that Silk Song is coming along, it's got me heavily intrigued, and versus say something like Starfield, which hasn't quite captured me, regardless of how much they've shown so far. Does that make sense? But yeah, it's interesting times that we live in, for sure.
Oh yes, very much so.
Well, you've made it indie gamer happy. Hearing you talk about Hollow Knight.
Oh, I think it's because of he knows the truth, right? He's actually Team Cherry are waiting for his official approval before they release the game. He's just been reticent to.
I think he's been playing it already. I think he's just keeping it stum.
He's got a load of videos already, guides, etc., already loaded up onto his channel.
Tell you, when Silk Song comes out that whole year, it's no point talking about any other indie game. He'll be literally. He'll do it. He'll probably end up doing a guide.
When they actually announce a date, they're going to come on his podcast. Left's going to come back on his podcast and announce a date, and he's going to break the internet live on his channel.
Luke's probably already drawing up legal disclaimers, just coming up and sort of bookending bookending all of the YouTube content that Indy's going to put out.
Yeah. That was a crazy show when he came on. Left. That was. I've never seen so many people in chat. It was amazing. It was so many people.
And just 3 people removable for this game, Hollow Knight.
It's incredible.
Plus the musician.
It really is.
But that's how they've when you get a good team that works so well, you can get so much more done. And sometimes the bigger the team, the bigger the problems. And
that's true, because they lean towards spending more time making this game. 4 years, I think it was, something like that. India will know better than me, but I think it was somewhere around 4 years they spent making it.
Exactly, and so they know each other well enough, to work around each other's eccentricities, work to the benefits of each other, work to everything else. So, once you get that really good teamwork, you can get a lot done pretty quickly than say something like with 20 or 30 people who may have some issues with people, may not have this different sort of design in their minds versus what you're trying to get out of. It's easier to micromanage 3 than it is to kind of micromanage to 30.
If you're in game development, what I found in Japan is that when you sort of outside the studio, people go for group dinners or meals and everything. Mm-hmm. When they're in the studio, there's 2 things they leave at the door. One is their shoes
and their ego,
and the most important one is their ego. Yeah.
Yep.
What's going on, Remove? What are you reading all my notes today for the show event? You've got a camera on.
Indie Gamer
We've
says,
done so many shows now. We kind of know how each other thinks to a degree.
Probably.
And we know that Stubbs always takes a 5-minute nap somewhere during the 2 hours that we're on live.
I haven't yet. But no, Indie Gamer was saying that, and Team Cherry have kept the team tight for Silksong despite all the money they've earned from the first. All to make sure.
You see that? Do you see the way he's teasing us with all this insider knowledge
From all
this ITK stuff?
Mhm.
Just pretending that he knows when he's on the inside himself.
There you go. He's not wrong though. What he says, Team Cherry have kept the team tight for Silksong despite all the money they earned from the first one. All to make sure the game is their true vision, true indie devs. They could have easily expanded. They could have easily expanded with all they've earned, but they kept the team the same size. Got to respect that. That's true.
I think to be honest with you, I think that would have been
a lot of devs. It goes to them when they get success money. It goes to head, they expand, and that's when things can go wrong in some cases.
But that's what I said. You're micromanaging that. You're micromanaging a bigger team means you're micromanaging people who may have a different vision. So if you can keep that core visionaries in the team, you don't have to worry about it because you all understand where you're going. You all see the path you're traveling is the same path that your friends will be dealing with. They all see the end goal. Where if you have a team of say 30, somewhere along there, someone's probably got a different end goal versus what you have in mind. Yes, the benefits of it is that you'll get more done, but it may not get to the point where you exactly want it. So a smaller team can actually do things maybe a little bit slower, but it's correct. And I suspect that's exactly why they've gone, that they want that tight-knit team. They know each other so well. They know how to work with each other. They know the challenges of each other's. They know how to kind of, get the very best out of each other.
It takes
with
2 to tango. It doesn't need 3.
So why make it harder for themselves? If you've got a really good team, effectively, why make it harder getting someone else in there that's just probably doesn't understand, or worse, wants to tweak it and add their own personal bit to it.
Very true. Very true words. But it's been a great show tonight. It has great conversations. It has. Thank you for coming on, VJ.
Thank you for having me. Or putting up with me, should I say.
It's been a fun show, it has. Where can people find you? Even though you hate that.
On this channel.
You can't.
You are exclusive to this channel.
Yeah, at the moment I am. Yep, until you kick me off, and then I'll be on no channel.
I won't kick you off. It's always good to have you on, VJ. It is. And
I'll have to become friends with UK Dazarus on PlayStation so we can talk about Final Fantasy Nilly Willy.
That'll be I can see that happening.
But Removable, thanks for coming on. Do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Much appreciated. Thank you again for having me on, and obviously a big thank you to the chat for keeping us entertained and also pulling me up when I go wrong. For those who wish to engage with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on YouTube, Minds, Twitter, and Xbox under the name Removal Sanity.
Thanks, Removal Sanity, for coming on again. It's been a pleasure, and you can find me at.
I just wanted to say I am disappointed we didn't get to discuss anything Miyazaki or Ghibli related, but so hopefully we'll make up for that next time.
We'll try and push that in for next time.
I didn't get to watch the said movie I was going to watch, so I'll try. And watch it for next show.
Shock horror.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, everyone. Thanks everyone in the chat. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, follow me on at stubzgaming on X. I mean, not Twitter. Even though on the website it still says twitter.com. But
I'm only changing it. I'll just keep it as Twitter. Everyone knows where it is.
Yeah. So yeah, you find me on YouTube and here. And this show is no longer going to. I'm doing a bit of a trial. I'm not sending this show to podcast feeds for a little bit to see how it does on YouTube without the podcast feed. I'm putting more effort into my YouTube channel and content in general, you will notice more podcasts or content drop in the next few weeks. I'm working on a lot of stuff. I am to upgrade and make things better for people. So if you'd like to drop a comment in the description, not the description, in the comment section,
in the chat,
or the
section.
comment section, tell me what you think of the new overlay, and did you like
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it does look good.
Very PlayStation.
A lot of people say that. Yeah, very. But yeah, it looks nice. My wife made it. An indie gamer helped me with the frame. Actually, the main frame where the video is. He actually made that actual frame where that bit of, just to help me out. He did. He's taught me a lot.
It does bring a bit more of a visual element. So for those who are listening on Spotify, maybe you won't understand it, but for those who are watching it on, it does bring something more than just a blank screen.
I'm going to try and bring more of my gameplay, as in of me playing games and stuff, because I've used a lot of trailers, but I'm going to try and use a lot more of my own video library to play.
Well, just use the old Xbox capture 4 minutes or something, and then.
Oh no, I can capture up to an hour at once. So I've got.
There you go, perfect, done.
But yeah, I'm going to try and do that from now on. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will see you next Monday. All right, and thanks everyone. See ya. Bye.
Very good. Bye.